ChatGPT, Omni launched at the same time, or perhaps strategically, right before Google dropped its latest AI announcements at I/O. The biggest announcement is that they are going to change search. This is the piece of the puzzle in the kingdom that they have been very concerned with, and they're going for it. The new product, and they have like 20 different products. You can see them at labs.google where they put all their different products. But this is the most important one. They call it AI Overviews. Basically, it's Perplexity. For most users, by the end of the year, they're going to have this. Here's how it works. And you can see it on your screen if you're watching us. Go to YouTube. Here, they gave an example. How do you clean a fabric sofa? This normally would have given you 10 blue links. Here, it gives you step-by-step guide with citations and links. So they're preempting, the issue of people getting upset. And as I predicted, they're going to have targeted ads. Here's the things you need in order to clean your couch. You can only use this if you're using your Gmail account. If you use like a domain name on Google Docs, it won't work there. So go to labs.google. But they're doing citations. And I think that we're going to see a major lawsuit here. Those people who are in those boxes are going to look at the answer here and realize maybe they don't get the click through and that this answer was built on that. And now we're going to have a new framework. There's going to need to be, Sachs, a new company that clears this content so that Google can do answers like this.
The workflow stuff in Gmail also kicked ass. The demo that they showed was you get a bunch of receipts and the person giving the demo, she said something to the effect of, well, wouldn't it be great if the AI assistant were able to find all the receipts and then aggregated them and it put them in a folder and then also actually generated an expense report or like a spreadsheet the fly? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I got to say, I think that it's free to change your mind. And so it's good to do that.
Oh.
And I think that
Chamath, in a rare moment of reflection, might do are we going to have a re-underwriting? Is this a re-underwriting?
I change my mind all the time. Because
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, Chamath is re-underwriting his Google trade. Sorry, I know to blow your ears out.
I think the Google thing is pretty special. Between last week's announcement of Isomorphic Labs, which, let's be honest, that's just a multi-$100 billion company.
So you're saying there might be many...
Think about it this way, right?
Multi-billion dollar opportunities sitting there dormant inside of Google that AI unlocks.
Look at a company like Royalty Pharma. So if Royalty Pharma, with it's a phenomenal business run by a phenomenal entrepreneur, Pablo Legorreta. But what is that business? That's buying 2 and 3% royalties of drugs that work. And you can see how much value that those guys have created, which is essentially 90% EBITDA margin business. It's outrageous because they're in the business of analyzing and then buying small slivers. I think something like Isomorphic ends up being of that magnitude of margin scale, but at an order of magnitude or 2 orders of magnitude higher revenue. So if you fold that back into a Google, if you think about what they're doing now on the search side, these guys may be really kicking some ass here. So
yes.
I think that the reports of their death were premature and exaggerated.
Absolutely. And the report of their death, Freeberg, was based upon people don't need to click on the ads. But as I said on this very podcast, my belief is that this is going to result in more searches and more knowledge engagement because once you get how to cook your steak and get the right temperature, right, for medium rare, it's going to anticipate your next 3 questions better. So now it's going to say, hey, what wine pairing would you want with that steak? Hey, do you need steak knives? And it's just going to read your mind that you need steak knives and Chamath likes to buy steak knives, but maybe you like to buy mock meats, whatever it is. It's going to drive more research and more clicks. So while the monetization per search may go down, we might see many, many more searches. What do you think, Freeberg? You work there. And when we look at the future of the company and the stock price, Nick will pull it up. Man, if you had held your stock, I don't know. Did you hold any?
I think I bought some
during your original stock.
During the woke AI stuff. Oh, no, I sold all my stock back when I started Climate because I was a startup entrepreneur and needed to live. So, which, I recently did. I did the math on it. It was it'd be worth a lot.
It would be worth billions or tens of billions?
No.
Would it have been $1 billion or? No, okay.
No.
Okay.
I was not I was not a senior exec or anything. I think what you said is probably true. So that's accretive. I think the other thing that's probably true is a big measure at Google on the search page in terms of search engine performance was the bounce back rate, meaning someone does a search, they go off to another site, and then they come back because they didn't get the answer they wanted. And then the one box launched, which shows a short answer on the top, which basically keeps people from having a bad search experience because they get the result right away. So a key metric is they're going to start to discover which vertical searches, meaning like, hey, cooking, recipes, that kind of stuff,
travel,
like you're referencing,
sports,
travel.
Yeah.
There's lots and lots of these different types of searches that will trigger a snippet or a one box that's powered by Gemini that will provide the user a better experience than them jumping off to a third-party page to get that same content. And then they'll be able to monetize that content that they otherwise were not participating in the monetization of. So I think the real victim in all this is that long tail of content on the internet that probably gets cannibalized by the snippet one box experience within the search function. And then I do think that the revenue per search query in some of those categories actually has the potential to go up, not down.
Explain. Give me an example.
You keep people on the page so you get more search volume there. You get more searches because of the examples you gave. And then when people do stay, you now have the ability to better monetize that particular search query because you otherwise would have lost it to the third-party content page. So for example, selling the steak knives is it's kind of a good example, or booking the travel directly and so on. So by keeping more of the experience integrated, they can monetize the search per query higher, and they're going to have more queries, and then they're going to have the quality of the queries go up. So I think it's all in. There's a case to be made. And I haven't done a spreadsheet analysis on this, but I guarantee you, going back to our earlier point about precision versus accuracy, my guess is there's a lot of hedge fund type folks doing a lot of this precision type analysis, trying to break apart search queries by vertical and trying to figure out what the net effect will be of having better AI-driven one box and snippets. And my guess is that's why there's a lot of buying activity happening in the stock right now. And I think they're probably all missing, to Chamath's point, a lot of these call options like Isomorphic Labs. I can tell you Meta and Amazon... Meta and Amazon do not have an Isomorphics lab and Waymo sitting inside their business that suddenly pops to a couple $100 billion of market cap. And Google does have a few of those. So
other bets could actually pay off. There
may be. Look, there's Calico. No one talks about Calico. I don't know what's going on over
extension, there. Let me get Sachs involved in this discussion. Sachs, when we show that example, it's obvious Google is telling you where they got these citations from and how they built how to clean your couch, how to make your steak. They were in a very delicate balance with content creators over the past 2 decades, which is, hey, we're going to use a little bit of your content, but we're going to send you traffic. This is going to take away the need to send traffic to these places. They're going to benefit from it. To me, this is the mother of all class action lawsuits because they're putting it right up there. Hey, we're using your content to make this answer. Here's the citations. We didn't get your permission to do this, but we're doing it anyway. What do you think is the resolution here? Does all these content go away because there's no model? Does Google try to make peace with the content creators and cut them in or license their data? What's going to happen to content creation when somebody like Google is just going to take Wirecutter or these other sources that are not behind a paywall and just give you the goddamn answer?
Well, look, this is the same conversation we've had 2 or 3 times where we're going to need the courts to figure out what fair use is. And depending on what they come up with, it may be the case that Google has to cut them in by doing licensing deals. We don't know the answer to that yet. By the way, I do know a founder who is already skating to where the puck is going and creating a rights marketplace so that content owners can license their AI rights to whoever wants to use them. I think that could be
that's smart.
Very interesting.
I had a call with him yesterday, and you and I will be on that cap table together once again.
Good.
You and I.
Yeah. So I don't want to say who it is because I'm going to let him announce his own round, but I'm going to be participating in the seed round. Look, stepping back here, it's interesting. If you go back to the very beginning of Google, the OG Google search bar had 2 buttons on it, right? Search and I feel lucky. I feel lucky was just tell me the answer. Just take me to the best result. And no one ever did that because it kind of sucked. Then they started inching towards with one box, but you didn't get the one box very often. It's very clear now that Gemini powered one box is the future of Google search. People just want the answer. I think that this feature is going to eat the rest of Google search. Now, it's a little bit unclear what the financial impact of that will be. I think like you guys are saying, there'll probably be more searches because search gets more useful. There's fewer blue links to click on, but maybe they'll get, compensated through those like relevant ads. Hard to say. You're probably right that Google ultimately benefits here. But let's not pretend this was a deliberate strategy on their point. They got dragged kicking and screaming into this by innovation of Perplexity and other companies.
Yep.
They had no idea. They got caught completely flat-footed, and they've now, I guess, caught up by copying Perplexity. And sucks for Perplexity. I think they're kind of screwed now unless they get
it's over.
an acquisition deal.
Exactly.
But Perplexity came up with the idea of having citations in
having a comprehensive search result, which was something
search result with citations and related questions. And they did it extremely well. And quite frankly, all Google had to do was copy them. Now they've done that.
Yep.
And I think it does look like a killer product.
And by the way, this was all something that I saw 15 years ago when I did Mahalo, which was my human-powered search engine, and which I had copied or been inspired by Naver and Daum in Korea. They were the first ones to do this. You know it, Chamath, because there were only 3 or 4 markets where Google couldn't displace the number one: Korea, Russia, Japan. Russia had, what was the Russian search engine? God, I can't remember it now. Japan had Yahoo Japan, which Masayoshi-san had carved out. It was never part of it, and they were loyal to that. And very nationalistic Koreans and very innovative folks at Daum and Naver just made search that was so amazing. You do a search and it'd be like, here's music, here's images, here's answers, here's Q&A. It was awesome. But, it just shows you, like, you need to have a lot of wherewithal, and timing is everything as an entrepreneur. My timing was 10 years too early and the wrong technology. I used humans, not AI, because AI didn't work 15 years ago.
One thing I would say about big companies like a Google or a Microsoft is that the power of your monopoly determines how many mistakes you get to make. So think about Microsoft completely missed iPhone. Remember? And they screwed up the whole smartphone, mobile phone era.
And it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Satya comes in, blows this thing up to a $3 trillion public company. Same thing here with Google. They completely screwed up AI. They invented the transformer, completely missed LLMs. Then they had that fiasco where, they had
Black George Washington.
Doesn't matter. They can make 10 mistakes, but their monopoly is so strong that they can finally get it right by copying the innovator. And they're probably going to become a $5 billion company now. Sorry, $5 trillion company.
It reminds me, the greatest product creation company in history. I think we all know who that was. And take a look down memory lane. Here are the 20 biggest failed Apple products of all time. The Apple Lisa, Macintosh Portable. We all remember the Newton, which was their PDA. The 20th anniversary Macintosh Super Sexy. People don't remember they had their own video game.
I was at a conference a couple of years ago that Jeff
Apple
Bezos
Pippin
spoke at. I think he's given this talk in a couple other places. You could probably find it on the internet.
Yeah.
But he talks about Amazon's legacy of failure and how they had the Fire Phone and the Fire this and the Fire that. And he's like, our job is to fail.
Big swings.
We have to make these blunders, but what makes us successful is that we learn from the failures and, we make the right next decision.
Yeah, but I'd say if you're a startup and you make big failures, you usually just go out of business.
One and done.
Yeah, but this is how you stay. This is how you stay. But this is how you stay competitive. If you're a big founder-led tech company, the only way you're going to have a shot at staying relevant is to take big shots that you're going to fail at.
I just don't.
You can't just. You have to do things that you're going to fail at.
Right.
Like, remember this boombox?
This is one of the huge differences between startups and big companies. Is that big companies can afford to have a portfolio of products. They have a portfolio of bets. Some of them will work, and that keeps the company going. Startup really has to go all in on their best idea.
Totally.
I always tell founders, just go all in on your best idea. They're always asking me for permission to pivot. And I always tell them, go for the best idea. Don't hedge. Don't try to do 5 things at once. Just go all in on your best idea.